and Sacks. There was a good article, A Taxonomy of Fear, that you shared with the group. Tell us a little bit about that article, A Taxonomy of Fear by Emily Yoffe. I think it's her name.
Yeah, she's a writer for The Atlantic who wrote this, again, it's called Taxonomy of Fear and Persuasion. I think it's an important article. What it does is analyze cancel culture and the language that's used to cancel people. And one of the things she diagnoses is what she calls safetyism, which is anytime somebody doesn't like what an idea or what somebody else is saying, they claim that their safety is being threatened by that idea. And it's kind of invoking these magic words that HR, has come up with, where, if anyone is creating an unsafe work environment or an unsafe college campus, well, the source of the problem has to be removed immediately. And so this is the language of cancel culture. And, the problem with it is that it doesn't really matter what the intent of the person was, or, intent's sort of irrelevant, or whether the objection is reasonable or not, whether it causes, whether it actually, threatens anyone's safety. And so there's an example of this when 50 prominent sort of writers and intellectuals wrote a letter to Harper's Magazine, including J.K. Rowling and Matt Iglesias, who's a co-founder of Vox. And so there's a trans writer. There's a writer who's a trans person at Vox who claims that her safety was threatened because one of the co-founders had signed this letter. The letter didn't discuss trans issues. It was simply the fact that Iglesias had signed it along with J.K. Rowling, and so J.K. Rowling apparently is
radioactive.
I missed this part of Harry Potter, but apparently the trans movement
her position
really against her,
that women who were born biologically female are different than women who transition.
Right, but
that's key.
Right. So right, and that's her position, but her position is being attributed to Iglesias by association. Yeah, exactly. And so
that would be like saying that I'm in support of Trump just because I'm on this podcast with you, Sacks. To be clear,
it's contamination. It's contamination by association.
Chamath, what are your thoughts on this sort of cancel culture and everybody being scared of words and
this will be if Trump wins in November, it'll be because this whole thing just gets too much for too many people. There is a massive plurality of people in the middle who think this overreaching sensitivity by the extreme left and the extreme right are just completely out to lunch. And
100% agree. 100% agree.
And I think that, by the way, the extreme left and the extreme right, they should all just get a room and just have one big huge orgy, because they're all just useless fuckwits anyways, all of them. Both of them. On the extreme right, like when Antifa and the alt-right are fighting with each other, it's like this sexual tension that they just need to release somehow.
Thanks for tuning in to the All In podcast.
I mean, most people are in the middle. Most people don't need to have this us or them. It's like you're not allowed to have an opinion. Like, I actually learn more from people that I disagree with just by hearing them and not trying to judge them. And I think that most of us as well have our views that are sort of moderately in the middle. So, for example, there was a USC professor that got sanctioned because he was teaching a language class and he used the Chinese word for that, which sounds like the N-word. And I think he didn't preface it correctly or what have you, but then, he apologized, he was suspended, and folks wrote a letter. Now, everybody has a right. The people who felt offended have the right to write the letter. The administration had the right to react. And then I think people read that article and think to themselves, is this actually has the pendulum swung too far or not? And mark my words, if people feel that the pendulum has swung too far, they will elect Donald Trump, because he is the complete antithesis of giving a shit about any of this stuff. So that will be the bellwether.
No, that's exactly right. So I think it's really important. I think there's a large part of the country that feels that Trump is a shield, not a sword, that he is their protector against this type of cancel culture. And I know Trump seems like an instigator, and he's very threatening to a lot of people on the other side. But again, to these people, he's more of a shield. And I think it's not just the fact that he speaks out and denounces cancel culture that makes him a hero to these people. It's his superpower is his uncancelability. It's this, it's the fact that the left has done everything they can to try and get rid of this guy, to impeach him, what have you.
Yeah, he's invincible.
He keeps surviving. And so it's his very, uncancelability that makes him such a hero to these people. And I think this is the thing that the left or the media doesn't quite understand, is that denouncing Trump in ever more hysterical terms doesn't work, because it kind of feeds into this.
Hurts. It actually reinforces. It adds more.
Right.
It adds more people to his cohort who say you're overreacting.
Right.
And the hystericalness of overreacting. Like I tweeted, I've been on this, mini tweet effort to tell people, listen, there are Chromebooks in the world. They're very cheap. 90% of the Americans are, on the internet high speed. And there are so many online resources for you to get ahead in life. Go try to be a marketer. Go do Khan Academy. Go learn UX and design.